Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of My Fiber Fun. Okay, you guys, get your cups of coffee, your beverages, your snacks, and everything, because we're going to be on here for a little bit. Ooh, I got a lot to tell y'all. Well, as you can see, I'm home. I stayed the hospital, and the reason why, wait a minute, I went in letting the doctor know. Oh, I was like, if we do one more course of steroids and that will kill me. I was like, and I don't want to die. He was like, you so over dramatic. I was like, doctor. I was like, And he was like, yeah. He's like, I know you do not like those steroids. And I said, it's just too much. And so let me back up. When I got to the doctor today, first of all, I went to the hospital and it was at least 60 people in there. I stopped counting after about 55, and there were still more. There were babies in there, old people, young people, middle-aged people, folks throwing up. So I was off in the corner by myself. I was double masked and all that. And so after I had sat there for about 3 hours, I finally went up to the desk. I was like, listen, lady, I was like, I've been sitting here for a while. I was like, and I'm here for something totally different than the flu. I said, I'm scared with every cough, every hock, every snort and sneeze, and kids, they don't cover their nose or anything. I don't care if I did have on masks. I have autoimmune disease, and the last thing I need is to end up with the flu on top of the magoo, okay? So anyway, she said, she's like, we got away. She was like, you probably gonna be waiting another 3 or 4 hours. She said, there's at least 20 people ahead of you. She was like, and they're moving slow in the ER. They're packed. I was like, listen, I said, I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow. I said, I have to be there at 12. I said, I came because of what's going on. I said, because he could get a jump on the steroids. I know it's an MS attack. I said, and so that's why I came. Normally at the ER, you might wait for maybe 30 minutes, if that. Usually, sometimes I'm walking straight back, that type of thing. But because of it being flu season again and everything, it was just too many people there. And I could have gone to another hospital. We have 2 more hospitals, but it's probably the same situation. Everybody has the flu right now. So anyway, when I explained that to her, she said, I don't blame you. She was like, we can agree that she's like, if you're not, can you still walk? I was like, barely, but yes, I can. She was like, okay. She was like, you go on back home so you don't get any sicker. She said, and then just make sure you're at your appointment tomorrow at 12. I said, I'll do that. So I came home, and as you know, I changed my pinned comment that I had to let you know that I was back home and would report to the doctor. So now, let's get to the doctor's appointment, and then we'll get to the fun. Okay, so I get to the doctor, and I forgot, I cannot stand his resident, Mr. Cash, as I call him. That's his name. Anyway, he's the one who comes in, him and then some trainee, that they have. They come in, and so he's having me to explain my symptoms and what's been going on and stuff. So I had to take him back to the cataract surgery. So he's wanting to just dismiss I was like, we're not dismissing the cataract surgery. I said, because I was like, here's the steroid I was on. In fact, where is it? Hold on, it's right here. Y'all know I like visuals. I was like, here it is right here. I brought it. I was like, you can read the ingredients of what it is and everything. I said, and this is what caused the problem. I said, I'm having steroidal bounce back. He said, there's no such thing. I was like, don't you tell me. And I've had MS for the past 20 some odd years. I said, there is such a thing as steroid bounce back. I said, if you have autoimmune disease, I said, and you're on steroids, I said, it can rebound. They call it a rebound, which means you can your attack can come right back or whatever. Or if you're on steroids for something different than an attack, it can bring on a flare. And remember, I was saying, I mentioned that to the eye doctor, and he swore up and down that I would not have an MS attack or any other attack from my other autoimmune diseases following the usage of the steroid. But I knew better. I didn't debate him, and I didn't argue because I had never had cataract surgery. And so I figured, okay, he's the expert, number one. And don't get me wrong, I don't argue with doctors often. They're the experts. I am no doctor. But I know my body, and I know what things that have happened in the past or things that have happened to people I know in the past that coincides with what I'm going through at that moment. So I will ask the questions. Everybody should ask the questions. Okay, so anyway, when he swore up and down it wouldn't, I'm not going to say I believed him, but I kept in the back of my mind, something may occur. And so it did, of course. Okay, so then when Mr. Cash decided he's not going to acknowledge that and try to dismiss it, I would not. I was like, I'm not letting you dismiss that because I know there's a correlation between me going off the steroid eye drops to my attack. I said, because the steroid eye drops were to keep whatever, the inflammation and whatnot down from the cataract surgery itself. I said, and so I have autoimmune disease. So once I stopped that, my whole body just decided to react because my body, my autoimmune system was thinking, okay, she's on steroids here. So that must mean that something's going on. So I'm getting ready to rev up. And it did. Okay, so that's where I'm at. So he still dismissed it, but we didn't go around and around too much. I just wanted to continue on to explain what was going on. And so then he asked so many doggone questions that were pretty much almost irrelevant. He was like, I don't think this is an MS attack. I think that something else is going on. I said, perhaps. It could be something else going on. I said, but the point is, I'm here. I was like, I'm giving you my symptoms. I'm letting you know what's going on. I said, it's affecting my legs. I said, I do have MS. I said, so MS affects my leg. I was like, it needs to be ruled out one way or the other. Is this an MS attack or not? Which I knew that it was, but, he took me through the ringer for at least 30 minutes while his little assistant or whoever the other guy was, and he was so cute. I think he was from India. His skin was darker than mine. I was so amazed because there he was with the straight. I love looking at the darker Indians. I never say anything, of course, you don't, although my former doctor was from India and we used to talk about that all the time. We were the exact same complexion and we used to hold our hand. I was like, this is just so amazing. You are from a whole different country and we have the exact same pigmentation. He said, of course. He said, you can come to India and you could put on a straight wig and no one would know the difference. I'll remember that, okay, in case I ever have to escape America. Thank God I can pass, okay? And I was like, and you could put on an Afro wig and no one would know. Let me stop. Okay, why am I doing this? Let me get back on track. Okay, told you this is going to be a fun video, so let the fun begin, okay? I'm just wacky right now. Okay, so anyway, I was like, okay, so I just went through the whole spiel with Cash and the little Indian fellow, and because he was real short, he looked like he could have passed for a teenager. He couldn't have been no more than 5 feet. I was way taller than him, but he was so cute. Anyway, so they finally left out. He was like, I'll return with the doctor. So, of course, the doctor, about maybe 4 minutes later, he comes in and Cash is behind him and then the little Indian guy. So they all take a seat. And then the doctor starts speaking with me and I'm explaining pretty much everything to the doctor. And then he said, okay, he's like, Cash was telling me what was going on and everything. He said, let me look back through your chart. Let me tell y'all. I'm a go ahead. I am having what they call it's a thoracic spine attack. It's T7. Okay, back in 2013, and this was right after my mother's stroke. I was under severe stress and everything. Right after her stroke, I messed around and went down. and I could hardly walk. I mean, these are and I forgot about that T7 attack because I had never had a T7 attack since. My other attacks, which are I have an attack of MS maybe every 4 or 5 years, longer actually. And then I did have an attack last year, but it wasn't T7. The attack I had last year was a C5 attack. What they do when they do the MRI, they check, because MS affects the optic nerves, the brain, the C-spine, which is the cervical spine, which is higher up in your neck, and it goes like partially down your back. And then your thoracic spine, your T-spine, that is the most dangerous area for MS. That's what causes people to no longer be able to walk. And so the T-spine comes from mid-back down to the waist. So your symptoms are going to be down low. I told them about how my waist, when I walk, my waist hurts, and all the way down my legs, all the way to my feet. I said, it actually hurts. I said, I'm not having numbness and tingling and things like that. And so he said, because the attack is really just now starting to take off. He said, at first you were having the symptoms. He said, and that's why they would come and go. He said, now you're having a full-blown attack. And so technically this would be the time where I would need that big giant dose of steroids. But even with that, I was like, I told him, send the wheelchair. I was like, because that's just how adamant I am about those steroids. I said, they will take me out of here this time if I do it. I said, I just have a feeling. And so I got the smirk at Cash, because the first thing out of Dr. B's mouth was, you are having a T7 attack. He said, and it is as a result of the steroids. He said, I see you had cataract surgery and was on steroids. He said, it is a direct result. He said, it's a bounce back. I said, that's what I was explaining to Mr. Cash. And I didn't, you know what? I tried to be nice. I try to be nice. I don't say, I told you so, although I gave him the look, okay? The look is okay, but I didn't want to, say, hey, guess who was right? I don't gloat about things like that, because the bottom line is he's still a doctor, number one, so he deserves respect. And number two, the fact that he's learning. He's a resident, so he's still learning. So he'll remember that. And I don't want him to remember that I've gloated and said, I told you so, and all this stuff. No, I want him to learn and then keep it in the back of his mind that I was nice about it, didn't gloat about it, and the doctor confirmed what I was saying. That's all he needs to know. And he won't forget that, okay? So it was no sense in me going any further with it. So he said, it is a direct result. He said, but now we've got to treat it. And so he said, okay, he's like, Miss Overdramatic. He was like, here's your parting gift. And he handed me this back. He was like, save it for your archives or whatever. He told me that. So I did. I told him, don't worry. So this is the other alternative, which avoided me being in the hospital. I'm going on the MS drug because I wasn't on anything and I should have been. And my doctor did fuss about that. He said, I know you didn't want to take the medicines, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. There's a drug called Aubagio. You might have heard of it. And then there's some other ones out there for MS. Well, there is a rare side effect to all these MS drugs. And that is the reason why I've been hesitant. But this time I'm going to have to just step out on faith and not be hesitant, because I don't want to wind up in a wheelchair, okay, as a result. But Aubagio is the safest of all of them, but there is a rare side effect called PML, and I forgot what that stands for. But what it is, it's a brain disease that actually can happen from these drugs. Is rare. But the thing is, until is no symptoms or anything until it happens. And once it happens, it's always fatal. It's a fatal disease. I was like, no. I was like, so everybody who has an autoimmune disease that take these different drugs, every one of them have that risk. And it's like 1 out of every million, And I'm thinking, I told my doctor, I said, I have buzzard's luck. I'm always the one. I was like, and speaking of which, I was like, Remember when I told you my brother died? He went on that experimental drug that Jimmy Carter was on, and my brother, what happened? Snake eyes. He takes the drug and it stops his heart and kills him. Okay? He was the sixth death associated with that drug, and it ended up not going on the market. But then it helped President Carter, and it's helped many others during the time that it was being used to treat cancer. But I'm like, okay, so I know this stuff is real and it can happen, but I have to step out on faith. I have to pray, and I have to depend on God to protect me from PML. And then I told my doctor, I said another thing too. I was like, I'm going to do it this time. I said, because I really don't want to wind up in a wheelchair. I said, so I'm going to trust you, because you said out of all of those drugs, Aubagio is the safest, and there's been no known cases since it's been on the market of PML. I said, and the third reason, I said, I'm now 60 years old. I'm older. I said, when you approached me about those drugs before, I was in my late 40s. I feel I've lived my lifetime. So if something like that happens, I think I've lived, listen to me, but for real, I think I've lived a good life. And if I were to pass now, I'm in my latter years. And so therefore, that plays a part too. And I know each attack, as I get older and fatter, each attack is going to be worse on me. So as of now, the prescription for the Aubagio, it used to be mail order only, and you used to have to pay all this money, but now you don't. So, because it's been on the market for quite some time now, so he called it in to my pharmacy. They will be calling me on tomorrow he's calling in a prescription on tomorrow. I had to do a baseline blood draw. Anytime you go on immune suppressants, because that's what it is, an immune suppressant. So now I've got to wear the mask at all times, can't be around sick people, whatnot. So I become a hermit again. I'm used to this. I've been on immune suppressants before. There's lots of them out there that treat different things. So now I'm a hermit. So y'all gonna be my company, okay? But anyway, for the next few months here, at least, if not longer. But anyway, when you go on immune suppressants, you have to have a metabolic panel, because they want your baseline. The one thing that immune suppressants can affect is the liver. And usually there's no problems. I've been on immune suppressants before. I've never had problems with my liver as a result. But they have to get that metabolic baseline number, so that in the next 6 months, so I have to go for a monthly blood draw for the next 6 months. And once 6 months has passed, then it goes to 1 year, because your chances of having any type of liver damage from the immune suppressants will be, it'll be less at that point. If anything's going to happen, it's going to happen in the first 6 months. And what they do is, once they get your baseline, if there's any change, let's say the first month, then you're going to come off of it, or they're going to lower the dosage, one or the other, and so on and so forth. After 6 months, your chances are pretty much nil. I've been through it before. I've never had any problems. So that part is okay. So anyway, and my results will be on my chart later this evening. In fact, they're probably already up. I just haven't turned on my iPad. So I'm quite sure it's up on my chart. So I'll know my baseline. And then I'll go in this time next month and for the next 6 months. Okay, so once we have that, he's going to call in the prescription. I'll go to Myers on tomorrow to pick it up, and I will start the medication, and it will wane the attack. In the meantime, he ordered up physical therapy, so I'll start physical therapy. They'll come to the home to do physical therapy, probably just once a week, and that'll be it. I told him, I was like, doctor, we can talk more about the physical therapy, because we're going to speak again on tomorrow. I said, from my last physical therapy, I kept all the papers that he gave me to practice, with the physical therapy. I said, the things that he had me doing, I said, I'm quite sure that will be the same thing he'll have me doing now. Now, let me explain something real quick about MS, because people, in fact, I'm not even telling my Facebook people and family and stuff. Only my sister knows. I decided to quit letting people know when I'm having an attack. If I request prayer, I'll say unspoken request or whatever, because people don't seem to understand. I'm quite sure you guys will. Okay, because people who know you, they tend to be different about it. I'll just put it like that. When you have MS, the one thing the doctor wants you to do is to keep moving. And I know that probably sounds kind of weird, but they want you moving. They want you walking. They want you exercising. You have your mobility aids to assist you. I have a cane. Right now, I am on the walker officially until the attack is over. Here it is right here. And you will see that I'm using it because I have another video to upload after this. We'll get into that next. Anyway, I have a wheelchair. I have a scooter. I have all my mobility aids that I need. They want you to keep moving. My friends, on the other hand, people who know me personally, the first thing they say to me is, sit down, don't move, get in the bed. And they just freak out whenever I have an attack. And I try to explain it to them, but no one wants to research MS and no one wants to research, what it is the doctor is telling you. No, the worst thing you can do with MS particularly is sit down. I'm sitting now, and right now my back is hurting. So I'm going to be getting up in a few minutes and I'm going to take a walk to the greenhouse. And then I'm going to practice my exercises. I pulled out my paperwork for the physical therapy. And then I did some walking today with the aid of my walker. That walker helps. It takes the pressure off of my spine. It takes the pressure off of my legs. I felt like a normal person using a walker. I don't know why I didn't have it out before now, but I thought it was something else going on. Now that I know what it is exactly and what will help, I utilized it. So I moved my chairs out the way. I took up my rugs in the house because whenever there's an MS attack, you don't want rugs. You don't want any tripping hazards. I have to be careful when cooking. So what I'll do is if I'm baking something in the oven, I'll sit down. I have a stool or a chair that's low enough, and I have a double oven, thank God. And that stove was given to me by my realtor when I moved in here. And so when she gave it to me, it was brand new. She had bought it, and then she ended up, something had happened with it, and they came to fix it. And then they ended up sending her another one just like it. And she told them, they already fixed it. It's already fixed. And they were like, well, keep the one we sent you. So she had two. So it had been sitting in her garage for like 2 years. And she was like, you can have it. Double oven, y'all. And I love it. I only use the top oven. So I can sit right in my chair and use that top oven if I'm baking, or something like that. So I'll just take all the necessary precautions because I am a fall risk and I don't want to injure myself and whatnot. I can still do housework. He told me, continue with your gardening. He said, if you need to go to the store or whatever, he said, take your scooter or your walker. He said, take your walker. And I'll do that when I go to Myers. And then I'll just get the cart. They have a million carts there. I can use the cart and then leave my walker up with the person at the door. We have a greeter, and all the greeters are disabled. They work in the cart section, so they're usually on a walker or a scooter themselves, and they will watch your mobility device for you, and then you get it back once you get ready to leave the store. So that's no problem. So Myers is where I will be going, nowhere else. They're the only ones I know that does that. So anyway, I'm straight. So I can go get groceries, and then my bags, I can load them right on my walker handles, and I don't have any stairs here. That's the reason why I purchased this house, because like I said, aesthetically, my old house looked a lot better. The curb appeal was better. It was a beautiful home, but I had stairs. This home, I chose this home and chose to move here because it was totally handicapped accessible. I have a walk-in shower. I have the laundry room, no basement, no steps to come in the front, no steps. I have the step at my deck, but there's also a handicap ramp accessible deck, part of the deck in the back. So I can stay in my home. I have no issues whatsoever. So everything's fine. I have my thing at my bed. It's called a something step to bed. That's the name of it. So it's a thing right there because my bed sits real high because it's a Tempur-Pedic that was gifted to me from the former owner, the estate of the former owners who are deceased. I have to tell y'all that story too, and I will in one of my story times about how I got this house and it was an estate house and what happened and all that. Well, anyway, I have that step to bed, and so I just step on that, and then it catapults me right into my bed, which sits up this high, okay? And then being a Tempur-Pedic is comfortable and all that. But yeah, the doctor does not want you to take to the bed at all when, you know, you're having an attack. But my friends and whatnot, and some family, my sister understands, you know, she knows about MS. She's read up on it and everything. And so I told her about it and everything. So she trusts the whole process. Okay. So I'm going to just talk her into cooking for Memorial Day. Because I was going to use the smoker and smoke. So I'm going to see if she'll do it. Because she has said, I'm not cooking anything big. You know, it's just going to be a regular day. But I'm going to see if she'll come over here and then do that. And then I'll provide the meat and the food. And she'll probably jump on that if she just cooks it and don't have to purchase it and everything. Especially when I tell her the menu. But anyway, so what I was going to say is, okay, so that's it with the MS attack. T7, I know the deal. I'll start the medication tomorrow. I'll be praying tonight. And y'all keep me in your prayer about the medication doing what it's supposed to do. He said it is fast acting and I will start getting results immediately. And immunosuppressants are very fast acting, faster than steroids actually, without the harsh side effects as it's happening. Steroids will stop the attack, but you feel worse from the steroids, but the immune suppressant will suppress your immune system quickly. And my only risk now is being around a lot of people and whatnot, not being masked up. So it's up to me to do what I have to do to keep from getting sick and catching the heebie-jeebies in the air and all that. And that's no problem. I'm a hermit anyway. I'm a loner by nature. So I'm fine with that. So I just won't be around anyone, you know, for a while. I'll just go back to my regular little life. So anyway, that's it, you guys. So now on to the fun. And see, this is already 30 minutes. So, yep, this is going to be one of those hour-long videos, y'all. And I'm going to put up the second video later. I decided I would do this one first because it's the longest. Had to do it one more time because I wasn't hospitalized. I was like, I'm going to do it one more time. And it wasn't necessarily to even buy anything. And you're going to see on that video where I say, I'm not even here to make any purchases. First of all, since the doctor told me he wants me moving and wants me to walk, I was like, what better physical therapy than to go through the liquidation store just to walk around? And then I noticed that that film from yesterday, the second one, wasn't the best. So I was like, okay, this time we can just do a tour and just look at the things that are there. And you all can see that. And then we can, you know, say goodbye that way. Well, during the trip, they had brought more things out. And that's where we're getting ready to begin. So you'll see that video after this. Okay, hold on just a minute. Be right back. Okay, I am back. I'm going to give you a sneak peek. Here are my Joann receipts. This is every receipt from the day I began until the day I ended. And I purposely saved the receipts. They were here, there, and everywhere, but I knew pretty much where I put them, most of them, or mostly all of them. And so as a result, I was able to put my hands on each one. So I will tell you, this is your sneak peek before we do the final tally, because I'm going to do that first. But my sneak peek for you is to know from the time that it was announced that Joann would be closing and up until today, which is my final trip. I'm through now. I am definitely through. Because tomorrow, Friday, is going to be a madhouse. Everything will be sold out. I think they'll be done by tomorrow or Saturday. But anyway, my total trips between Bloomfield, which I only visited on 2 occasions, Auburn Hills, and White Lake. Auburn Hills ended up winning out in the end because once they revved back up, you know, I went there quite a few times. My total visits altogether from the beginning of February until today, 14. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I only went to the liquidation store 14 times, and here are the receipts. Okay, I'm going to show today's receipt and yesterday's receipt. I will show that, and then we're going to add that in later, and I'm not going to show it just yet. This is the very first receipt, and this is an important receipt. I'm going to laminate this. This is historical. This receipt right here, if you look at the date on it is February 10th, 2025. They made the announcement on February 11th of this year. Ooh, these glasses. God, hold on. I can't stand it, okay? Woo! I don't want y'all seeing me like that. Okay, let's do this. Wait a minute. One more. Wait, I'm laughing at myself. Let me stop. I am just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs today. Okay, anyway, here we go. If you look at this receipt, the date, this is the day I went in and decided I bought the Yarn Swift, I bought that yarn bowl, and I bought those seed tubs. Although it's going to be counted in the final tally, nothing was on sale. Well, the Yarn Swift, was it on sale? Yes, it was. Okay, the Yarn Swift was 25% off. Oh no, this was from the Yarn Bowl. And then that next day, wait a minute, hold on, y'all. I want to make sure I have this right. Okay. The 18th. Okay, that was after they announced the liquidation store closing. Okay, I got the Yarn Bowl, I got the Yarn Swift, and remember, I got those 3, and it is on here somewhere. I got those 3 containers that I'm using for my seeds. Okay, so, and if you look on it, I did have savings on here because I ended up saving $8.75 that trip, although this was the day before they announced the closure, but I had a coupon, and then remember the Yarn Bowl was on sale, and then the seed things were on sale too. Okay, so, but what's so important about this receipt? This was the day before. See that at the bottom? That was the very last day that any type of coupons were to be printed with the Joann. It was just a regular shopping day that day. And this was the day before they made the announcement. That very next day, I went back to Bloomfield after they had made the announcement when they were panic buying, and I did my very first video. And this is the receipt from that day. So that's the sneak peek, you guys. So, and then from there, we went to Auburn Hills. We did that. And then we went to White Lake. White Lake is distinguished by the yellow receipts. And then back to Auburn Hills after that. So we're going to do the tally. I'm going to do the tally. And what I'm going to do with the tally is I'm going to do a handwritten spreadsheet. And what I'm going to do is when I go over these receipts, and it's going to take me a minute, that's why, but it'll be prepared for that final video to close out the Joann, and liquidation store journey. But what I'm going to do is a spreadsheet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down what store I was at. I'm going to write down the original price total. I'm going to write down what I saved. And then I will compare that. Because what I want to do at the end is compare from what I purchased, my tally of what I spent on those 14 trips total, and what I saved on those 14 trips total to determine, did I actually save more during this closure? And that's just for myself. Or did I spend more? Or did I break even? I truly believe I saved more. I truly believe that, but I still have to go over the receipts and get the final numbers and crunch them up. And I will be showing you that in that final video, as well as everything purchased during the time from the announcement all the way up until now, the closure. But what I want to show you now is we're going to start out with yesterday's purchase, because I told you what I purchased, but I haven't shown it to you. Okay, and this was remember, I hit Snake Eyes at White Lake. So basically, you could say 15 trips technically, but I didn't buy anything at the White Lake location, so there was no receipt. So you can add on one more trip, but with nothing purchased. So this is what I bought, the Purell hand sanitizers, and I bought 2 of these. These ended up being $10 for the 2. So $5 for this big giant bag, and it's heavy. And then the other one, hold on. Here's the other one. So I spent $10 total for these 2 bags. This should pretty much get me through a lifetime, I would think. And these will be used for, and I know I can use them. I can use them for here because they're hand sanitizing wipes. I'm going to buy a container and I'll just fill the container as it empties. I can use this for fishing because when you fish, your hands get dirty. I can use it for gardening. Lots of times my hands get dirty, even with wearing gloves. Sometimes your hands still get dirty. So I'll be putting these in a, some sort of container, and I'll use them. They're going to last me for quite some time. And having both of these, and for $5, I would have spent $5 for a teeny tiny one anywhere else. And it's antibacterial, and they're hand sanitizing wipes, and they're by Purell, name brand. So I bought that on yesterday. Now, keep in mind, I'm getting ready to show you the tool. That was yesterday's other purchase. Now, keep in mind, I bought 2 bolts of tools totally at the liquidation store in White Lake. So remember, I bought that one with the orange, and then I bought the one with the black, and then I bought 40 yards total. So each bolt was 20 yards from White Lake. So that's 40 yards. Well, 20 yards a bolt. So 2 bolts of 20, which is, those are in the greenhouse. That's why I'm telling you this. Those were 20 yards for each bolt, already measured out in the plastic, and they're still like that. Then I bought like a partial bolt there. So I don't know how many yards. I think that might have been 10 yards. And then all that I stuffed in that bag out in the greenhouse, that's another 20 yards, because I went twice and bought 10 yards twice. And so out in the greenhouse, I have, let's see, 20, 40, 60. I have like 70 yards of tool in the greenhouse. Okay, so keep that in mind. This was counted out as she did, and as you can see, the rubber band, the amount is on the receipt, so we'll look at that. I said I was going to show the receipts from yesterday. Well, I am going to show them, but I'm not going to look, at the amounts. But as you can see, this is probably a good 10 yards. And how she counted it out was she just counted it down the thing. So this isn't a full 20 yards, but I know this is at least 10 yards because the bolt itself, hold on, I can tell you how many yards the bolt is. Probably 20 yards. Let me see. And this was originally $2 a yard. It says netting and tool, Maddie tool, 100% nylon. It doesn't say on here how many yards. I'll look on one of those other ones that has the back part. Okay, so this is quite a bit. You can look at this and tell this is quite a bit. And this is the second to the smallest one. So we have one. Then this purple one here. This one ended up being, I think, 5 yards. This is the smallest one that I purchased yesterday. And this is enough to get me through a year right here, a whole gardening season, this alone, will get me through next year. And I'll put a rubber band around it. Okay, that's 2. Then we have the third one. This one was pretty much a half a bolt. And so let me see. And this is the third smallest one. This one was $10.99 a yard originally. And it's called Casa Tool for Dresses. And the width is 7 or something. I don't know. I'm trying to read this. But anyway, it's the third smallest, but it's quite a bit on here too. And that'll get me through a year, I'm quite sure. Then we get on to this one. Was pretty much just about a full boat. So this is the spider web one. This is number, let's see what number. 1, 2, 3. This is 4. Then we have number 5. Oops, almost dropped it. This is the other spider web one. And this one's number 6. And this is the one where she added more. Where you see the rubber band. And she added more to that pumpkin one too. But as you can see, this is quite a bit here. So this is the second to the biggest one. That's 5. And then number 6, the pumpkin. So, and she did add the rubber band, but there was extra to this one. So we've got this one. And this one was I'm quite sure. I got to look at the original. Let me see. I may as well look now. What was the original price on this? Because it's decorative. This was regularly, that whole boat, oh, it says $29.99 per yard. Woo! So that's why I ended up spending so much, because it was 60% off of $29.99. And then that's why I didn't want this to begin with, because I know the decorative ones would be more a yard. And then it was 60% off of $29.99. So whatever that amount was, with the 60% off of that, then from that amount, you take another 50% off. So still. And yesterday I saved. That's the part I wanted to tell you. I will tell you that part from yesterday. Hold on. I thought I had put the receipt to the side. Apparently I didn't. Hold on. Hold on. Give me a minute, y'all. I'm not looking up because of these glasses, okay? Okay, where's the date here? Oops, I'm on the wrong receipt. Okay, yesterday's receipt. Hold on, y'all. Because I called myself putting yesterday's and today's together. Okay, here's yesterday. This is today's, so yesterday should be right in front of it. Hold on. Let me make sure. Nope. Just a second, y'all. And I did put these in order. It's just going to take me a minute. Okay, here's yesterday. I mean, this is today's. Oh, here we go. Nope. What did I do with? That's today's. What did I do with yesterday's? And I know I have it. I know I have it. Give me a minute. It probably done worked its way to the middle somewhere. Okay, that's the 6th. That's April. Here we go. The 21st, that was yesterday. Okay, yesterday, here we go. Yesterday, I spent a total of, before taxes, it came to $93.66 yesterday. After taxes, because my taxes was $5.49. After taxes, I spent $99.35. I think yesterday I said $99.38. My savings on yesterday were $295.45. That's yesterday's savings. And I'm going to show it to you. I hope it's focused in so you can see it. Okay, there is the price, what I spent, subtotal, total, state tax. Then when you go to the bottom, it shows the savings, your total. Wait, hold on, so I can point it out. Okay, here it is. Where you see my fingernail, it's dirty. It says you saved. It shows what I saved, $295 and whatever amount. Okay, that's yesterday. That's why I think I won out. I think I stuck it to the man, y'all. I think I stuck it to the man. Now, let's go to today's receipt. And then I'm going to show you what I got on today. Let me make sure I have the right receipt because now they're everywhere. Nope, that's the old one. Okay, here's today's. I can tell because it looks new. Okay, let's put these back. Okay, here's today. I'll tell you what I spent today, and I'll tell you what I saved, and then I'll show you what I purchased. And then, oh, those glasses again. Okay, $5.22. My subtotal today came to $36.47. State tax was $2.21. My total was $38.68. And let me show it to you. That was today's total right there. I saved on today, with today's purchases, I saved $68.65. Very good. So I was way ahead of the 8 ball. And pretty much, I haven't looked over all the receipts. Now, those 20% off and all that stuff, I still saved more than what I spent. So that's what lets me know, I believe, that I'm going to be ahead when it's over and done with. I believe I ended up saving more than I spent at the liquidation stores, especially with the big ticket purchases. Now, let's move on to today's purchases. Now, how long have we been on here? Hold on, got to do the glasses again. Ooh, 47 minutes. Okay, we are under an hour at least. Okay, let me make sure I have everything. Seemed like I had 3 bags for today. Oh, I did have 3 bags, but one of the bags tore. So I put it, I threw the bag away and I hated it because it was a Joann bag. But I have these 2 that I'll save. First of all, before we get to that, okay, suspense. I'm almost finished with the trashy shawl. I'll be done with this real soon, as you can see, the patriotic shawl, and I love it, okay? And I still have plenty of yarn left. Just wanted to show y'all that. I finished the market bag out of this, and I put my other shawls in it to kind of stretch it out. So this is the market bag, all complete, diamond mesh. And I like this, I like the earth tones of this bag. But I just kind of stretched it out. But I wanted to show it to you because I finished it. Okay, moving on. Now, today's purchases, first of all, let me explain. And you'll hear me explain it in the video as well. And you're going to see that full shopping video. Except the camera did get cut off again at the end because it timed out. And I did record the second part, but I'll just tell y'all what happened. Because the second part was like 2 minutes. I get up to the cash register, and the first thing the lady yells out, it was this little young girl, she goes, "We're not doing any price checks." I was like, okay, that's fine. I was just wanting to make you aware so that you'll be aware. I said, I'm aware because you just told me. Thank you. I was nice to her, you know. So that was the dramatic part from part 2. So I don't even have to, because I showed you the receipt and all, so I don't even have to show you that part of the video. But in the first part of the video, that is 28 minutes long. It's the shopping trip. And I did a much better job, I think, today with showing you what was there and all that. Joann, that location, the reason why I will not be going back, they may bring out more things or whatever. It's nothing I want now. I got everything I wanted, and it was like a rummage sale. You may as well call it the liquidation rummage sale now. Everything has changed. As of today, they had changed it to 4 days left, and then they changed now everything is 70 to 90% off. Tomorrow, and I was told tomorrow, 80 to 95% off. And Saturday, tomorrow will be 80 to 95% off. No, 80 to 90 tomorrow. Today was 70 to 90. Saturday, it will be 90 to 95% off. And then Sunday, the last day, they're not going to make it. It was like being at a rummage sale. Everything was where it was and where it stood, and you either got it or you didn't get it. So I'm going to show you what I purchased. First of all, and you're going to see me picking up what I'm getting. First, I went back to that table where I got those wipes. They had brought out more things. They brought out masks. And since I need masks, although I have a lifetime supply of cloth masks, these are your paper masks. So I went on and got these 2 boxes. Each box of masks were $2. So I spent a total of $4 for the masks. Then I bought some things for my great nephew. They brought out like some little toys, markers and all that. I did not get the markers because my niece would have killed me, but I got him some sidewalk chalk. He will get this at Christmas time. This was 50 cents, a bucket of sidewalk chalk for him. Shoot, I might keep it here so if he ever comes over here, because I get kiddos over here from time to time, that's something for them to play with. But no, I'll probably just end up giving that to my great nephew. Okay, and then I bought my great nephew these. There's some coloring pencils. And these were, I think, let me see. Ooh, those birds are loud. It's been raining all day. These were 50 cents also. And so these are coloring pencils. So he can use these later, you know, when he goes to school or whatever. Okay. Now, when everything was 20% off, when the liquidation store first started being the liquidation store, my very first trip, I went to Auburn Hills. And no, I went to Bloomfield, but my very first trip to Auburn Hills produced these. All they had were 2 on the counter. And these were Christmas bulb cups, and they're plastic. I thought they were so cute. And although they're small, they hold a lot. Believe me, this holds a lot. And I love these. They stay cold. If you put something cold in it, if you put something warm, it stays warm. And they look like Christmas bulbs. And I wish they had more. I paid, these were regularly $6. And these were like, these might have been, yeah, these were 50% off at the time. Because remember, the Christmas stuff was always ahead of everything else. So I paid half, but I paid, and I looked at the receipt on today. I paid $3 a piece, and I was mad because I would have bought more if I could. And this was from the Auburn Hills location. Every other location, I looked for these, never could find them. They had some in the shape of a Christmas tree, but I didn't want that. I wanted them to look like the bulb. In fact, this one had water in it because I carry this one in the car with me. Okay, so I brought it out of the car. So you'll see I had the green, and then I had this pink one, or red. Well, you guys, God blessed on today. Because when I got up to the checkout, what was there? So I know they must have brought these from the back. One more pink, so now I have 2 pink, and there were 3 more green. And I got every one of them. There were just 4 there on that little shelf. I got them, and I paid, I think, 50 cents each for these. So, yeah, it hurts being that I paid $3 for those other ones. But my total was 51, 52. Yeah, 50. I think I paid a total of $2. Because, no, 51, 50, yeah, $2 for these 4 cups. And then I paid a total of $6 for those. So for $8, I end up with 6 cups. So, hey, that's what it boils down to. But these are the new ones. And then I have those other 2. So, I like having 4 green and then 2 of the others. So, I have an even number. So, if I was to ever serve, I could say, okay, the girls get the pink and the guys get the whatever, you know. But anyway, I'm just glad to have 6 of them because if I ever bust one, I have the extra. The other thing, I paid, I think 50, these were, hold on. I paid $2 for this. It was a bag of beads. And I said, I'ma just go on and get them. Remember, I'm doing it's rummage sale day today. And basically all my purchases were other than, well, it was a few little things I got. So this is rummage sale. So I paid $2 for these. And then this pack here, I paid 50 cents. And that's so weird. But this one was 50 cents. The other one was $2. So I got these. Then I got, and this is just the rummage table stuff. This is the stuff from the rummage table. Then I found some sequins. So I can make my own little shawl now. And I might use this for that silk yarn that I have. I might add some sequins to it or whatever. Or I might get some yarn later and just add the sequins. I would like black or something like that. But I found my own sequins that I can add to a shawl later. So, and I paid, give me a second, y'all. It's getting darker by the second. It's been raining for the past week, okay? I paid 25 cents for this. And my next purchase, I also paid 25 cents. So I got this for 25 cents. And then I got this for 25 cents also. And I was like, what in the heck is this? It looks weird. And all this tape measure. I was like, wow. Now I do have a tape measure. I had bought this from, you know, Joann years ago. And it's nice. And this is the one I use. But it's nice having an extra one. Okay. Then, this is the part where I said, they had 7 of these. But I had already bought like 4 or 5 of these before. And so, because they had 7 of them there, I was like, I'm going to just go on and get them because they were less than $1. I paid, I think before, they were like $3. So now I have a total of probably 10 of these. I went on and bought the wax. But I started to buy them off since they were $1. But I said, nope. I constrained myself today because I wanted others, and you'll hear me say that on the video. You're going to hear me say probably more than once, I want others to be able to come in and hit the jackpot too. I've got enough. I was getting, it has gotten to greed at this point, okay? So I said, I'm going to go and leave the other 4. I'll take 3 of them because, I mean, $1, that's just too much to pass. That's too good to pass up. And this will last me for my embroidery for the rest of my life. I love this stuff, the beeswax, because you run your embroidery thread across it. It puts your threads together, and then it makes it easier to sew, and you can see it better. And so I have enough of this for the rest of my life. And my last purchase, my final purchase, the final thing I picked up in the liquidation store, so I can say this is my actual final purchase, and it's something that I have loved from the beginning. And they had 2 left, and I said, I'm going to get them. 2 more yarn chickens, y'all. So y'all know we're going to have to do a giveaway because I have so many yarn chicken buttons. When I looked at my bag yesterday, I was like, ooh, I've got too many of these. And then messed around and bought 2 more on today. Now, I did not like the fact that they upped the price because my other yarn chickens, I looked at the price and those were originally priced at like $4.99. And then I got them for like 25% off. So I ended up spending like $3 something for those yarn chickens. They upped the price on this to $9.99, but because it was 70% off, I paid $1.50. And that's why I got these 2 yarn chickens. So I stuck it to the man with the yarn chickens because he stuck it to me before. So we're going to do a giveaway of 1 or 2 of these yarn chickens. And I did, during my little yarn chicken haul from early on, I gave a few away. One of my friends, she was the one who told me about yarn chicken. And speaking of yarn chicken, Tuula Mae, Tuula-Mae, she lives in Finland. And she's a crochet. She does a tutorial twice a week, one on Saturday, and then she does like a topic. And her topics are like only 2 minutes. Tuula Mae, pull her up, or I'll try to leave her link. She did one on yesterday, and she talked about how to beat the yarn chicken. It's a 2-minute video, so y'all need to see that for sure. And if you guys watch Creative Grandma, ooh, she did an excellent video. She did a meet and greet, and I love that video. I watched it last night. She did a meet and greet where she gave out all these prizes. They played bingo for prizes, and then they did raffles. It was so nice. And she showcased some of the work that other crocheters had done. And I guess these were just people from her area. She decided to host a meet and greet, and it was very nice. I was like, that is unique. But anyway, that's it, you guys. That's my haul from today, which I ended up spending altogether $38. And it wouldn't have been that much, but it was because of, I don't know why. But it ended up coming to, well, 36, and then altogether 38. So all in all, in 2 days, I spent 100, you may as well, because 99, 109, 10. Altogether, in 2 days, I spent 120. So that's it. So I'm going to do my tally. I think I got a lot for my 2 final visits. It is done. So goodbye, Joanne. So we're going to do that final tally video the next time, and you will see what I spent, how much I saved, all that. So, okay, we're at an hour now, so I think it's time to end this. So you got all the scoop with what's going on with me. And I will be back. It'll be next week. I'll let you know how I'm doing and everything. I might come on just to, give you a brief update to let you know how I'm doing. Since I'm sick now, I'm infirmed. So I'll let you know. I don't want y'all to worry or anything. So, I'll be there. I'll be on, even if it's a short, just to let you know how I'm doing. In fact, that's what I'll do. I'll just do a short every day to say, hey, I'm doing fine. And then that'll be it. Then that way I can't go over 1 minute, okay? And so I think I did good. So the next few days here, I will be doing my tallies, gathering up everything, rolling it here to the living room so that when I come back on, I will show you everything that I purchased. Is going to be a lot of stuff. It's going to be stacked high. But thank God I have somewhere to put everything. Everything is already put away with the exception of what I purchased today. So I'll have everything out here. We'll go over everything and then just have some fun talking about it. And then you guys, let me know, what have you been able to get at the liquidation stores? Those of you who shopped it, because I know some of you waited till the end. Some of you didn't go at all, which I don't blame you. I was mad too at the beginning, but I was like, I'm going to figure out a way here to stick it to the man. And then I thought about, it is times like this where I'm infirm all alone because I can't have, it's back to just my family now. My sister, nieces, nephews, that's it. Because I'm immune suppressed. Only family only, no friends, none of that. So that's just how it turned out, unfortunately. Although, Jen, I might have to make an exception. Because I know you coming to Michigan, so, oh no. I might have to tell you, you might have to come here, girl. I'll invite you to my home. It'll be a junky mess, but that's okay. But anyway, we'll talk about that later, Jen. Okay, but anyway, so that's how it is now. So this is the reason, with this in mind, with me having this attack now I have something to do. I won't be lonely. I won't be bored. I have my television. I have my crafts. I have, my gardening. I have, my embroidery. So this is a good time for me to strike that up again. now, you know, so I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. So, okay, you guys, so that's it. I'm going to get off of here and I'll talk to you guys later. And may God bless you all, because we have been on here a little bit too long now, an hour and 10 minutes. So, y'all got y'all dose of Q today, for real. Okay, so look forward to my shopping video. I hope you enjoy it, and it is. I know I've said that a million times, but that's it. I'm forced now to not go back to the liquidation store. There's no reason. And especially now with this MS attack, I will not be going back. I'm done. I am done. Slap me 5, y'all. Let's give Joann's a hand. I think I've done well, okay? Talk to you guys later, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.